Hello, and what's this week's Devil in the Detail podcast? I'm Rob Paxton, and I'm here talking all things. So for a Devil's Drum of the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Parkin. How have you been, Parky? Building up for France, obviously. Most of the Reds will be listening to this on the way or in the South France, listening to us and enjoying the sunshine, hopefully.
Yeah, it's been a busy week personally, but I've got to say I'm really jealous.
Yeah.
Really, I put a post on social media at the start of the week saying this is the week where I try and avoid social media as much as I can, because you start seeing people at the airport and then they get there and they're in the sun and it's where you want to be in it. Unfortunately, not this year, but no, I just hope everybody out there has a good time. It looks like we've travelled in decent numbers as well. And it's always a bit of fun, isn't it? Whether you're in Lorette or going straight to Perpignan or wherever you're staying. It's a great trip. Something I'd advise any fan to at least do once. So I hope you all have good fun and get something out of it, whether it's 2 points or a suntan, one or the other.
Or both would be good. If we could get both, that'd be even better.
Yeah. It's a great weekend for everybody, and it's different, isn't it? As much as we're all dying to wool, rugby league fans, as much as you might want to go to Weldon Road or Bellevue, I think the south of France just outdoes it, doesn't it, a little bit? Yeah, going out there to the sunshine and throwing in some rugby. I don't know what more you could ask for.
Yeah, sunshine, through a few beers with your mates. Obviously, I'd be taking my son now, so it wouldn't be like that kind of holiday.
Yeah.
And I think me sat in a pub for like 9 hours a day, I don't know what he gets out of that, really. So that's why we're in forward discussions on how we're going to make it more fun for him and me at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, whether you go to Lorette or Perpignan, there's beaches and there's lots to do. I mean, Perpignan probably maybe more so because it being a kind of city and there's stuff going on. But I mean, Lorette it is good fun. You can do what you do at any seaside, I suppose. And he'd love it. And then you get that day. It's just that travel to the game and back that might be a bit of a bind. But other than that, it is a great trip. And I wish I was out there. It's just like I say, even today, seeing everyone going to the airports and having a pint first thing. I mean, it's not for me anymore, like yourself, but it's the thought of going out there and watching them. And no matter, I know we'll talk about it. It's been a big week, and no matter what, there's always something to talk about. So it's an interesting weekend.
Yeah, it's more the stories off the field than they're on the field. Then when you got to Perpignan, that's the fun of the fair.
Yeah, we had a few of them, but them days have gone now, so we won't talk about that.
Sensible adults now, Parker. That's what we are.
I won't go that far, but yeah. We're adults apparently by age.
Yeah. This week, I had a bit of a scare this week, Parker, to be fair. I was doing the podcast admin, checking the stats, making sure, how the listeners are doing and where they're listening and when they're listening and how they're listening, things that, helps us organise when we're going to put out the podcast and things like that. And I clicked on our provider's stats to show sort of how many listeners we've had and downloads we've had. And this was total, right, ever. And we'd lost 150,000 listens. I know. I pulled that face as well, and I went as white as a sheet because I felt sick. So I rang the people and said, I think you've made a mistake here. And they said, yeah, our system's down. Don't worry about it. And I was like, come off the phone like that. My heart was in my mouth. I thought, no way. But I've always had a big lie, but luckily now it's all back and fixed again. Obviously, do thank our listeners for providing them stats and listening to us every week. We really enjoy doing it. You really enjoy listening to it by all accounts. So it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, God, we're losing people like that. We should be running for government.
Yeah,
good at that kind of thing. No, that's a relief. It's good to know that people are still listening and tuning in. We're not just talking to ourselves.
True.
Although I'm sure sometimes people wish that we would. But listen, like you just said there, it's great that people do, and I hope this weekend they get a chance while they're sat around the pool having a little beer or whatever in the sunshine, and get a chance to listen to us and agree or disagree, whichever it is. But just let us know one way or the other. Just hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So basically, this pop-up podcast, we're going to look forward to the Catalan game. But before that, Parky, though, you got your hands on the new book by Graham Morris, and you've created a little game for me to play.
Yeah, just a bit of fun, just to liven things up maybe a little bit. Now, I know we've done this kind of thing before.
Yeah.
Done a slight twist on it this time. And there's two separate sections. So I thought Mr. Whiteside would have been with us this evening, obviously. Getting
Keep
ready
him
to
warm.
get his sun cream ready or whatever he's doing.
Yep.
So you've got a choice.
Okay.
Now, what I've gone for here is a South Sea extravaganza. So I've picked players who are either from New Zealand, Samoa, wherever.
Right.
And there's two categories, and you get to choose which one. I'll save the other one.
Okay.
You can go for who played the most times for us.
All right.
Or who scored the most tries for us.
I think I'll go tries.
Okay. Interesting.
Tries.
Interesting. It's probably a little bit easier, that one.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Well but then maybe not. I mean, you have to know the stats, don't you?
This is true.
So, okay.
So let me get this right. So South Sea Islanders. So
yeah, and
New
Kiwi.
Zealand, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, place like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I did have a tiebreaker, but you're not going to need that because there's only you, so you're not going to lose.
We'll see.
So there's five. I've got five choices, 10 players.
Okay.
So I'm going to score the most tries for Salford in their spell between Francis Melly, man on the telly, and Rangy Chase. Now,
Rangy Chase.
To give you a clue,
go on.
Francis Melly played 18 times for Salford. Now, I'm not going to tell you how many times Rangy played, but that's just to give you a clue.
Right. So my thought process on that is Francis Melly, I think, played about maybe a season, if that. Rangy Chase played a couple of seasons, but Rangy Chase wasn't particularly prolific, I don't think. So I'm going to go Melly as in more tries than Rangy.
No.
Are you joking?
Strangely enough, Rangy Chase scored 15.
All right.
Francis Melly scored 14. But oddly enough, Rangy, like you said there, Rangy played 42 times.
Yeah.
Whereas Francis only played 18 and scored 14 tries. And that's some record. I probably spent all that time slagging him off. So he wasn't that bad. So that's one down.
So that's nil from one.
Next one.
Go on.
Willie Talau.
Talau.
Or Gray Vian.
Vianney. Great. Vianney v Talau. Talau was a bit injured for me.
Yeah.
Vianney played more games. So I'm thinking Vianney scored more tries than Talau.
Not from two.
It's getting worse.
The really sad part of this is that neither player scored more than 5 tries for us.
You're joking.
Willie Talau scored 4, and Gray scored 2.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't great, was he?
No, he wasn't.
He didn't play that many times, oddly enough. He didn't play half as many times as you'd think.
How many did Talau play?
25.
25 in how many years? 2?
Ish. But like you say, he spent most of the time injured, so it didn't really matter. But anyway. Here's another one. Tough one. Battassini.
Yeah.
Or Christian Inu.
We're talking tries here, aren't we?
Tries.
Super League tries.
Tries. I'm
thinking Battassini was quite prolific, but I don't think he was like amongst our top try scorers. It was more about the way he ran the ball in and all his energy, while Christian Inu did score quite a few for us along the way. So I'm thinking Inu.
Not from 3.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Oh,
no.
Batter scored 28.
Right.
And Inu scored 24. But obviously, Inu kicked about 7,000 goals. So he can cloud your judgment. And strangely enough, Batter played 58 times.
Right.
And Inu played 52. So it's going to be close. Okay. So
you know when you said I wouldn't lose with them fighting against myself? So I'm going to have to change that.
Yeah. Well, you've not lost, have you? You
True.
can't lose. Okay. Next one.
Go on.
Ben Murdoch-Masila
Mm-hmm.
or Peter Edwards?
Edwards.
Mm.
Right. So let's think about this. Peter Edwards was kind of a pivot in our line in the hooking role. Ben Miller was second row, running wide, running over people. Went to Warrington. Edwards was ours. How long was he there at Salford for? 4 years.
Oh, easily, yeah. I'd say 3 to 4.
Did,
yeah, probably 3 full seasons easily.
So did he score more tries than Ben Murdoch in his period of time? I'm thinking Edwards.
Yay! Well done, Bob. Yeah.
Yes.
Benny scored 22 in 60.
Right.
Edwards scored 25 in 91.
Yeah. Scored more.
So, yeah.
Played longer. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
so at least that proves at least I'm a Salford fan, which is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And then this one is this is close, and it's a good one. Sir Clifford Beverley.
Yeah.
Or Junior Sow.
Now, Junior Sow was with us for a while, wasn't he?
Yes.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And he was probably clocking about 10, 12 tries a season because he was towards the top of our try scoring charts. Cliff Beverley scored something like, was it 49 tries in one season in the championship?
Yeah,
so did. Didn't score many in the Super League season the season after. So did Cliff Beverley score sort of 50 plus? Did senior score enough? Junior Scout score 50 in 4 years. 12. Okay, we'll go Junior Scout because he's consistent.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, Cliff's record is tremendous as well. He only played 87 times. Always felt like he played more, but he scored 53 tries.
Yeah.
87. Junior, 142 games.
Right.
59 tries.
Right.
So, but you think your logic was there? Spot on. Yeah. So you've ended up with 2
out of 4.
Out of 5.
2 out of 5. Yeah.
2 out of 5. But not bad. Because they're not easy. If you don't know, you don't know, do you?
No.
So, yeah, we can carry this on next week.
Yeah.
Fill a bit of space. Although the way that this club's going at the moment, we may not have time to cram it all in. But yeah. And we'll have Paul Whiteside back with us next week, and we can have a rumble.
Yeah, good stuff, that, Parky. Good stuff. So now we'll look forward to the Catalan game. On why he was going to do it. He's probably laying a hotel bed tonight, wondering why he's going to do it after the news broke from Matthew Shaw from the Examiner. Says that King Bunny Aya was, he says, refused entry to France. So that's a disappointment. Obviously, one more player down. We don't know whether that's true or not. The club haven't confirmed anything at the moment. We're recording this Thursday night. But I'm sure we'll find out when they announce the team on Saturday.
Yeah, if that is the case, Matthew's got a record of picking out bad bits about Salford and not always being correct. So I'm not 100% about that. Yeah. But as it stands, if it is true, that's really not good enough. We can't have players. We only travel abroad once a year. This is all got to be done. It should be ready, and we should know who's playing and who's not, and who can go and who can't. We don't know the circumstances. Clearly, we're not privy to that, and hopefully the club will shed some light on it if there's any truth to the fact. But it will be a massive blow because I think King's been in great form recently. He's been our real go forward prop, and as we've said, being down in numbers, that's not great. We brought in we've made an exchange this week in many ways, one for one, but he's not there either, or certainly wasn't listed in the squad. I don't know what can happen, whether he can be flown out there or not. I don't know. But at the same point, that's a very, very disappointing sort of a bit of news really about King in both ways. In the fact that he can't play, he's going to be a loss, and the fact that this oversight has been allowed to happen, it's very disappointing.
Yeah. Well, like we said before, no confirmation from the club. We're only going off what he said in his press, in his story, and he's all right. He's only doing his job for me. He's reporting on what's happened. I'm sure, we will get to the bottom of it sooner or later. So all the Reds in Perpignan are having a great time in the sun and in the bars, and hope you're behaving responsibly and enjoying the day.
Yeah, have a blast, everyone. Please, just remember though, while you're out there, you're representing us. Yeah. So don't do anything stupid. But no, enjoy the time. Have a drink for me, and we'll see you all back at Saints next week.
Yeah, Paul's swap for keeping Britain warm to trying to keep France warmer this weekend. So we'll see how that plays out next week.
It's a hard life, isn't it?
It is.
It's a hard life.
Miss before the Catalan Dragons game, so we're not going to be able to review it. We're going to wait for later in the week to do that, Parker. But we've got all the big news that have come out of the club this week, and there's lots to go at.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, hasn't it? It's life's never dull being a Salford fan. Let's be honest. No. Sometimes it's a circus, and sometimes you're mind blown by some of the wonderful stuff you hear. But yeah, it's been a fun week. Let's just say that.
Yeah, lots to go at. So we'll start with the big news coming out of the club. So the big news is Tyler Dupree has left. He's gone to Wigan on a 4-year contract at Parky. The club announced it as a club record selling deal, but for an undisclosed fee, which basically kind of doesn't really make sense to me. We've sold him for loads of money, but we're not going to tell you how much he's sold him for.
Yeah, there's a lot of cloak and dagger with it, isn't there? A little bit. I understand sometimes the club don't have to tell us everything. I get that. I do, but I think a lot of fans I've spoken to are very, very disappointed at the fact that Tyler's gone. It's a case of we're selling our best players again. Are we? He's our best young player. I mean, to be fair, we haven't got many young players, but it's the same old Salford kind of thing. But I think if the facts came out about how much perhaps we've got and what that allows us to do, where's this transfer fee going? What are we doing with it? I think that's what the fans are frustrated at now. I think there's I've spoken to loads in the last 24, 48 hours they're livid. They really are. And they understand that the Dupree move, Tyler wanted to move weeks and weeks ago. We were led to believe from what he said that he was told to look for a club, and then was told he wasn't going anywhere. So then he loses a bit of form. People start having a go. He don't want to play for us. Whatever the truth of the matter is, he's gone to Wigan, and all the best. I think he's a great talent, and I think he'd be an international prop for a long time to come. I've got no doubt about that. I think he developed so well at Wigan with the players around him and the coaching and everything else they've got to offer him. I've got no problem with that, and I've got no problem with a lad if that's how you advance your career. But I think the fans just want to know now, well, what's next? Where do we go? We've released an excellent young talent, someone who had their head turned. I've got no doubt about that, and that happens. But we need to know what's next. And at this time of the year, we've got, the playoff. We're still hoping for the playoffs, and we need bodies. We haven't got bodies. That's the main thing, and we need to replace them. And I know as part of the deal, we get a player in exchange, but that player in exchange clearly, and no disrespect to him, but isn't Tyler Dupree. That's I've got to say that Tyler's got years ahead of him. So when you weigh it up, we probably don't get great out of that. But financially, it probably makes a hell of a lot of sense to a club like ours, which we know is struggling all the time for money. It's hand to mouth. But we need to know. Well, we don't need to know, but we'd be nice to know how much and what we're going to do with it, how we're going to reinvest that money, and what kind of players are we going to bring in to boost the squad.
Yeah. 35 appearances, 8 tries, played for England this year against France. I rated him as a player. He was always an 8 out of 10 player for me. Yeah. He had that ability to do something special. last few weeks, like you say, since all the stories about his head being turned, possibly going to OKR, ended up going to Wigan, his performances for me have been a 7, which I'm not going to moan about, because 7 out of 10 is still, he's still making his tackles, he's still doing his runs. So he didn't throw the towel in for us, which is a good thing for me. He is really sort of blessed, and I think he's going to be a top player. And I think Wigan, it will give him that platform, playing at a higher level continuously. But people are upset because obviously we've taken the money, and the big thing about not selling our best players, and we want to change this mentality of being a selling club, and that's a thing we do need to shake off. But at the moment, we're still an opportunity club. We're in transition to be a top playoff club. We're not quite there yet. The finances, aren't quite there. The playing staff is small. The squad's quite small in comparison to other teams. So for his decision to go and obviously benefit the club as well, with a bit of a pay packet coming in as well, and like you said, it would be good. But then I think he'll have the money. Paul King and Paul Rowley and Ian Blease will be sat around a table, won't they? Probably in Spain or wherever now, and they'll be having that chat whether they invest in somebody now for our playoff push, or do we keep that money aside to go and buy someone in the off season who's going to take us to that next level. And that's the important thing, because at the moment, like you said, we're in this situation where we're in a sort of run of defeats. Confidence is seeping away. Fans are getting a bit twitchy because, like you say, we see what's going on. So do we need a statement signing now to get everyone back on side and think, right, we're back in the playoff hunt again, or do we sort of ride the storm out, get to the end of the season, and rebuild the Paul Rowley squad again?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? But you could sort of keep your money, keep what you've got, and then rebuild at the end of the year. But is that just giving up? Is that us saying we're not getting top 6? We don't want top 6? Because I think that with the way that IMG are looking at things now, I think top 6 for us is kind of crucial. I really do. I think we have to be in that mix somewhere, even if we finish 6th and get beat in the first week and out you go. I get that, but we have to be in there to show that we are progressing. We're not just a one-season wonder to make the playoffs and then finish outside. We looked at 2019. We go to we go to the grand final. 2020, go to the cup. The year after was an awful year, really. We're finishing in the bottom. Then we get back in the playoffs, and then we drop down again. We can't afford to keep doing that because IMG aren't going to look favourably on us. And at this time, we need that. The trouble is, I think that the main problem we're going to have is who's out there. Who's going to move clubs now to a club that, if you're in the top 6, you're probably not going to want to leave a top 6 club. So where do you go? What do you do? And if we are going to sign a player from Super League, we're going to have to pay him more than the other club are already paying them to get them. Or maybe a transfer fee. We can't do any of that. It's not there. That money's not there. So we're in a catch-22. Do we go back to the Championship? I worry that we've got too many players of that ilk. We need a bit of quality. And Tyler Dupree certainly was that. Like you said there, people have had a go at him. He put his down tools, he did this. Let's not forget, he was in a struggling pack there. He wasn't the only one in that pack that didn't seem to be doing what we wanted him to do. We went to Wakefield the other week, and I probably couldn't pick out a forward I thought was any good. So let's not just pick on one. They're not all leaving. They're not all just had to down tools. So it's very easy to say when a player's gone, we didn't want him anyway. He didn't want to play for us. Every single one of us would have been delighted to keep him, even until the end of the year, and let him go then. It's this junction now where we're basically either going to say we're going to make a crack at this top 6, we're going for it, or we're not. We're going to build for next year. I don't think that's fair on the fans who've already bought the season tickets, who are investing, who are planning to do whatever for the next, and who have put the money in recently. That's not what they were doing it for. They were doing it to secure the club's future. And I know it's a long-term thing, but they also want to see success now. And that's something that we're not going to do if we are still selling our best players. So it is catch-22, and I do feel for us. We have bills to pay and not a lot of money coming in. But if you don't put the product on the pitch. People aren't going to turn up. You're not going to get people through the turnstiles. You're not going to sell merchandise. Therefore, you're going to go backwards. And it's very tough to find that balance. And we've never really got it right in the history that I've watched us. We've either always stretched ourselves or not stretched ourselves enough. No, it's very, very, very tough for us, but it's a decision that's been made. We've got to move on now. We've got to go with what we've got, and hopefully we've got enough in us, get a couple of players back to still make that push for the top 6.
Yeah, it does say, like I said, record transfer fee. I'd look back through the ages of people leaving. Ben Masala went to Warrington for, I think it was 175. Richie Myler went to Warrington, it says in the Daily Mail, in 2008 for 275. So even we have an idea of if the Daily Mail's amount is true, that what we could have got for him. Which, like I say, it's a big amount of money, but when your transfer deadline is Monday or Thursday or whenever, all them prices for players go up, don't they? And will teams clubs want to let them players go, knowing that a couple of injuries and they're back to the bare bones again? So it's going to be a tough decision to make, but that's Paul Rowell's decision, that's Ian Blee's decision, Paul King's decision. That's what they're there for, to make them big decisions, big calls. And to be fair, they've made the right calls continuously, correctly, for a good few years. It's not like they're coming into this cold. If you're looking at a form sort of guide, their decisions on players coming in have been spot on. So I have confidence that regardless what happens, whatever they make the decision will be right for the club.
Yeah, I think you made a point there as well. I mean, looking at players now at this period, the clubs know we'll have a bit of money, so they'll probably go, well, put the salary up, or sorry, put the value of the player up. And if you're one of those teams fighting to get in the top 6 right now, you're not going to sell to your rivals. That's not going to happen. And then you think, well, maybe those that are probably more secure up there, Catalans, perhaps your Wigans. Normally you would say Saints, but they're now in a crisis because they've lost so many forwards that they're not going to have any players to let go. And you look at the other teams there, Lee, well, they've got a small squad, so they've got nobody to release. Hull Kingston have got injuries and so on. Leeds are fighting to get in that top. Where are you going to find these players now to replace good players? And I'm not talking, you can go and find average players. I'm sure every club's got somebody they'd let go. I mean, Huddersfield have probably got 700 players on the books at the moment. I don't know what our working relationship is there, but but if they're not getting in the Huddersfield squad, what makes them good enough to go straight into our squad now? Yeah. And that's what we've done. We've taken out a key component and not really filled it with anything. Now, I know we're going to talk about what we have done, but is it enough? I'm not sure it is. I think we were already short on numbers. We lost Sarge at the start of the year. We let Lannon go. We've now let Dupree go. We know that Longstaff's gone. With the injuries we've got, we're already 4 players down. We bring 1 in. We're still minus players. We need bodies as well as good bodies. So it's finding a mix, but I don't know where we'll find these players from. Yeah,
going to be, very interesting to see what happens, how this plays out, really. Another player that's departed, Ellis Longstaff. He was on loan from Warrington, 9 appearances, 2 tries. His loan was terminated, and then Warrington sold him to Featherstone. I thought it was all right for us. Didn't get much of a look in, to be fair. I think I read somewhere about because of his age, Warrington would have needed a fee, which probably complicated the situation. But Featherstone are providing with a fee, so happy days for him. He continues to be able to play rugby league. Featherstone get a new player. We lose one, unfortunately.
I agree. I don't think Ellis was given a chance. I really don't. I don't say he was the be all and end all. And I know if you speak to Hull fans from last season, they absolutely adored him. I think he got their young player of the year or something. They wanted him back, even though he was only on loan with them. He's got a lot of talent, and I do think he'll be back in Super League. I really do. Whether it's with Fev or whether it's back with another club. I'm surprised the likes of Wakey or Cass or whatever haven't had a look at him, because he is a talented player. He's versatile, back row centre. I think he's played half back in his time. I find it find the whole situation very, very strange why we signed him in the first place.
Yeah.
We weren't going to use him. And he's just been in and out of the squad and never, like you say, he's played 9 games or something. And we've been, at times, we've had no players. And we still don't put him in. And it's like, did Paul Rowley want him or was he signed for him? If you know what I mean. Was somebody else saying, oh, we've got a player here. And Paul Rowley's gone, that's not the player I want. I don't know. I don't, you know, and he doesn't fit in what Rowles wants. You know, the head coach is the main man for me. What he wants, he gets as much as he can, obviously. I mean, he'll obviously want, you know, Cleary and people like that, and that's not happening. But, you know, if he needs a player for that position, we've got to fill it. So I feel for him, Ellis. I really do. I think he was okay. You know, had his good moments. But again, it's another body out of the club. Yeah. Another body gone. Now, he was on loan for the year. I know what you're saying. At the end of the year, maybe we would have had to buy him or what. I don't know. But if he's only on loan, well, you just let him go at the end of the year. Why would you let him go now? Why would we stop paying his wages now? Is it the financial side of it that we're not hearing? Is that why he's gone? Because it seems a very strange one. When we're going over to France this week with possibly 19 players, well, he'd have been in the squad. But we let him go. At the same time, we've let another player go. It doesn't make any logical sense to me when we've kept him all year and could have let him go halfway through the season, but we've let him go now. And like you said, the deadline's coming up. We've got to scramble around and find players. Odd. Very, very odd. But I wish the lad all the best. I've got nothing, you know, he did his job. He did what he was asked of him. And I'm sure, like I say, one day he'll be back in Super League anyway.
Yeah. Positive news, though, Parker. We have brought someone in, Brad Singleton from Wigan, prop forward, 30-year-old, 6'2", 17 stone, used to play for Leeds, Irish international. I like the look of him when he played for Wigan. He was a big unit, you know, carries strong in the tackle. I think he'll add, you know, certain grit and power and aggressive ugliness in a forward to our pack.
I think the aggressive side's a bit of a worry. With our discipline, I don't think it's a great thing. Listen, Brad had a great start to his career and was, you know, at Leeds, he looked like he was going to be something. I think injuries have taken a toll a little bit at his time at Wigan. I know it's someone that Rowles knows, doesn't he? I think did he have him at Toronto? I took him to Toronto when it all went wrong. And he has had talent, and I've got no doubt that he could hopefully find it again. He is no straight replacement for Tyler Dupree. Let's not, you know, cover up any sort of cracks with that. That's not going to work. But hopefully we can get a Greg Burke out of him.
Yeah.
You know, we got Greg Burke and everyone went, why have you signed Greg Burke? And what a player he was for us. Brilliant, Greg. You know, a man I've got nothing but respect for. So hopefully, and Brad might see this as last chance. You know, he's been around, you know, who after Salford now, if he doesn't work here, where does he see his career? What's he going to do? So maybe this is the kickstart that he's going to need. Paul Rowley gets his hands on him. We know what he can do with, you know, he can certainly polish certain things. He's great at that, Paul Rowley. He gets the best out of players. I think he makes them feel good about themselves and makes them want to go and play rugby. And that's perhaps what he needs. Maybe some players just need love as well. Maybe that's what he needs now. I don't know, but we needed a player in. He was ours next year, I believe, anyway. So I'm not sure how it works with a transfer deal because he was on a free. But he's obviously part of this deal. We needed a body. We've got him. Shame he's not in the squad this week.
Yeah. Opportunity club. We've given him an opportunity. Wigan have said he's surplus to requirements, and we've come and prove that you're still one of the best forwards in the league with us. Like you said, Tyler Dupree is Tyler Dupree. Brad Singleton is Brad Singleton. He's not a direct swap. We're not going to be sat there comparing, thinking, oh, Tyler would have done that differently, because he's a different kind of player for me. But we need big forwards. We need aggressive forwards down that middle, and he's going to do that for me. I really do. I don't expect him to be a ball playing forward or anything like that. I just expect him to be aggressive and take his tackles in, take his drives in, and be the best front row. You know, we've got, because obviously you got a competition. You got the like say King V, Jack Ormonroyd. You know, he has a chance to be the top dog in that little battle.
Certainly, like I say, he's got the experience, and he's been at Leeds, he's been at Wigan. He knows the culture. He knows how to make, you know, to be a top pro. You don't stick around at clubs like that if you're not. And I think we definitely needed a big body in there. Obviously, I mean, Tyler going the other way. And if we can get players fit, he will be useful to have in terms of the rotation that he'll offer us that we haven't currently we haven't got at all. So, and I wish him all the best. I'm not trying to pour scorn on him or anything like that. I don't know. I've not seen enough of him in terms of I've never seen him in a Salford shirt, and it's what he does in that counts. What he's done before or what he hasn't done before. It's irrelevant now. He's a Salford player. Like I say, he's only 30. I mean, I think a lot of people have got this impression that he's, mid-30s and going. He's younger than most of our players, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think, Jack Ormonroyd's in his 30s. I think King V's late 20s now, isn't he? Alex Gerrard probably up that way. You forget that. Our forwards aren't young men. I mean, Callum Watkins isn't a young man. He's still brilliant. So he'll have that experience. He'll have the knowledge. He's been at good clubs. Hopefully, he can bring that to training every day and then get him on the park. And who knows? Like I say, he might see this as his last big chance, and we might get the best of him. A lot of players do that at the back end of the career. They have a bit of a sort of renaissance, if you like. I mean, key ones for me. I was thinking about them the other day. Something came up on Twitter about 96, 97. The Dad's Army tag we got. And we had Paul Forber and David Hume and John Cartwright, Sini Marlowe, Cliff Eccles. I don't remember any of them letting us down.
Nope.
They were all great players and really good players for us. So, and they were at the back end of the career. It doesn't mean you're over or anything like that. So I think Brad, he's got to take his chance now. And hopefully Paul Rowley and Kurt Haggerty can turn him, into the prop that we need.
Talking about transfers, Parky. Deadline day is the 3rd of August. We've lost 2, brought 1 in. Do you think the club will do any more business before the 3rd of August?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think we have to. I think I said last year at a point to my brother several times and other people, and I may have said it on here, but when we were going through a struggle mid-season last year, I said, I kept saying we need to bring bodies in, and people saying, can we afford to? And the point was, can't not afford to. Because if we don't, this was last season, we were on a slide. I think we lost 7 or 8 games on a bounce before we had that amazing run to the end of the year. We could easily finish in the bottom, whatever. And we brought in Tyler Dupree, strangely enough. Part of that run when Tyler signed for a role. We need bodies. Definitely, and I think we need them now. If we want to be in the top 6, we have to get bodies out there because we don't know. We know Shane Wright's out for the year. We don't know about Cal. We're going to get other injuries from now to the end of the season. I think we definitely need to boost our pack, whether it's 1 or 2 more players. I think we just need to secure us. Even if they're loans for the end of the year, if we can get any of them, But I think we have to. But we've got to have a look around and see who's available. That's the tricky part, as we've mentioned before, that at this time of the season, players aren't going to be around, really, and the good ones really aren't. So it depends who's available.
Yeah, late actions in the transfer market can be great, can be quite gammy, has to be said. The great ones, Jackson Hastings, Joey Lussick, came in when we were staring down the barrel and helped us get to a over like whatever 18-month period, got to a grand final. We've not just them, but that process kicked off the run. But then on the flip side, Jack Littlejohn and Mamo. So you roll your eyes. Then they came in, didn't quite work out for them. Even didn't work out for the team as well. So it's a difficult decision. Paul Rowley, Paul King, Ian Blease, I've got to make that decision. If the person's coming in, will that person be an improvement on what we've got? Because I don't see the point in bringing people in just as like, we're just bringing them in as a body to make sure that we've got enough players to play. It needs to be somebody who is good enough. Don't forget, we've got reserves now. So it's not like, we haven't got anybody. They could come in the odd game and fill in. Paul Rowley's talked about that. He talked to Stuart Wilkinson about how they're developing. Might be an opportunity for them down the line in the next few weeks. But it will be interesting to see sort of what happens and how their actions will highlight the direction of this season, where our club's going.
Yeah, I remember, didn't we bring in, was it Mateo or someone like that as well, or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
They're late on in the season and thinking, we were like, what? What have we
Mm.
done that for? And we've had a few like that. It does work well both ways. And, you know, bringing in Jacko was obviously an absolute masterstroke at the time. And if we can do that with a couple of players, I mean, I'm not expecting that, you know what I mean? But somebody who can have an influence, that's what we need. Somebody who's going to, like you've just said, going to add to the squad. And I think Paul King will be listening to this now and banging his head on the wall, thinking, "Do you think we're dummies?" You know, we're not teaching you how to suck eggs here. You know, we know the club are going to be trying to do this if they possibly can. But the question for me is, who's out there and are they good enough to add to our squad? Mm-hmm. But we need bodies as well. So it's finding that line of somebody who's just going to do the work. I mean, Ben Halliwell's a perfect example of. He came in last year, did a couple of weeks on loan. I thought he was good then. And I think since he's been in the team, I think he's been brilliant. I really do. What a workhorse, you know, in defence and attack, and he gives you everything he's got. He's never going to be that man that's going to lead us to the next level. But if you don't have them players in your team, you're never going to get anywhere. So it's finding players like that fit straight in, straight away, and are good enough to make our first team stronger. And I don't know, I personally don't know who's out there. There must be some in somebody's academy or reserves, but who've we got?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, transfer deadline 3rd December. On the Love Rugby League website, there is a list of out-of-contract players for next season for each club, which we possibly maybe dabble in, contacting the clubs to say, can we have somebody maybe? So I'm gonna go through in Parker, and we'll have a little bit of a chat and see, you know, if in an ideal world with this excess money that we've got in the back pocket, we were going to get someone for now, or whether we're going to get in the end of the season, beginning of next season. Okay, so Catalan, I've got Tyrone May and Michael Pearce.
We're not getting either. I think May is off to Lee, I believe.
Okay.
He's a very good player, and Pearce is an excellent player. But no, I'm not saying they're not players we need. They're not key positions that we need to strengthen unless we lose anybody, as in a Brodie Croft or a Mark Sneyd or a Chris Atkins. So at the moment, no to them. I mean, you'd love fantasy rugby league, innit? You know, but it doesn't work like that. So no, it's not where we would target the money, I don't think.
Yeah. So we'll be drinking pina coladas rather than negotiating in the south of France this week. That's fine. Huddersfield, Jack Ashworth, Leroy Cudjoe, Chris McQueen, Nathan Mason, Jermaine McGilvery, George Roby, Owen Trout. Chris McQueen, is that the second row? I'd have he's good. I'd have him if obviously, probably I don't think Huddersfield let him go like now because they're in a playoff. They're in a bit of a push, aren't they? Trying to get back up the league, but yes, maybe some people in there.
I think Ashworth. I think he's a decent player. I'm quite a fan. And Owen Trout, I think he's a tremendous player. I don't understand what Ian Watson's thinking by not having him snapped up, but I'm led to believe that he's either Lee or Warrington or someone. He's already got a destination lined up. So that's a bit of a worry. Chris McQueen, superb, but by next year, he's another year older. He's already mid-30s. He's, you know, I get a bit worried. Great player, don't get me wrong, and he scores a hatful of tries. He's a real danger. But if we can get Shane Wright fit and keep hold of him for another year, we've got Carl Watkins, we've got back rowers has never been. No, it is at the moment, but for some reason. But you know, we got Stone and you know people like that. But if we had the luxury, then yeah, I mean, I think he's an overseas player. We have got room. We know we have. I mean, we never replaced Elijah Taylor, and that's another problem. But yeah, I think Ashworth for me would be someone I'd certainly look at. He's a big unit.
Okay, so let's go Hull FC, Brad Dwyer, Jude Ferreira, Danny Houghton, Joe Lavoda, Ben McNamara, Jamie Shaw, Scott Taylor, Adam Swift, Andre Savelio, Mitili, Vidikani Pani, Connor Wine. So for me, Scott Taylor might be good for 12 months. Possibly. I know he won our podcast player of the year. I think he won our first ever podcast player of the year. Paul King. Bring him home.
I think Scott's sadly past his best. I really do. I like Scott. And when he was with us that year, I mean, knowing that he was only on loan and he knew that he had his club fixed up. He could have just gone through the motions, and he didn't. Like you say, he was player of the year. He was brilliant and a real entertainer and a nice fella as well. I don't know if you ever see him on social media. He's a great character, but I don't think that's. If we bring him in to the end of this season to fill a gap, then yeah. But I don't think he's not the future, and it's not quite where we want to go. I think there's a lot of players there that are on the on the edge now. I mean, Connor Wynn's a great player for me. Well, a really good player, but again, back not where we need him. Lubadua is a decent player. I'm just trying to think, really. The first one you mentioned, or the second one?
Bad Dwyer.
No, Dwyer's off to Warrington again, I think, or something, is it? To replace
Jude Ferreira?
No, not him. No.
Danny Out and Joe Lavuda.
Mm-hmm.
Ben McNamara. Thinking Andres Sevilio, but he's a second row, isn't he?
Yeah, his old man played for us.
Mm.
You know, we keep that going, don't we? The Hansons and the everybody else that we've had that have followed in the father's footsteps. But yeah, again, back row, but still of a decent-ish age. I think he's still got a bit to prove. But he has had injuries and a few other issues. But maybe he could be a possibility, I think.
Yeah. Hulkier, Lewis Johnson, Jimmy Kinehorst, Connor Moore, Danny O'Cole, Ethan Ryan, Greg Richards, Sam Wood. Kinehorst, maybe.
He's okay. I don't think he's any better than what we have currently. I believe that Ethan Ryan's quite a good player, but Kinehorst is a good, solid player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good pro. Very much in the way of a Costello or even a Cross, that kind of player. He doesn't sort of uproot trees in many ways, but he doesn't let you down. So yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. But I just think perhaps our 3/4 aren't maybe the issue that we at the moment. We don't know who's staying and who's going, but that we need to strengthen. It's definitely that pack.
Yeah. Leeds: Blake Austin, James Bentley, James Donaldson, David Futsu, Adam Caesar, Zane Terravano, Liam Tyndall.
Well, I think
Donaldson. Is he a forward? Donaldson.
Yeah, James Donaldson. Not a bad player. Bentley, if he could sort his discipline out, I'd have him all day. But he can't. It's a problem he's got, and that's why he gets, moved on. There's a few good ones there. I think Tetevano, another big unit. He could do a job for us. Surprised he's not been given a contract, really. Blake Austin, obviously not. I don't know what's going on there, but it's a bit of an odd one. Caesar as well. No, he's going back home, isn't he? He's going to Wests. There's a few decent ones there. I think Tyndall's off to Hull. He's a good player, a really good outside back, but I think he's already snapped up. Rumours are that he is. But I'd certainly have a look at Tetevano.
Lee is Danny, Jacob Jones, Tom Nisbet, Ben Nakambuai, Kay O'Donnell, Ben Reynolds, Aaron Smith, Nathan Weil, Joe Wardle, and Lachlan Lamb. Well, Joe Wardle, Ben Nakambuai, both forwards.
I don't know. I'm a bit. I don't think Ben's perhaps. I don't know. I don't think he's the right man for us. He's been here, and he's not awful, but again, I'm not sure what he's looking for. Wardle's quite a good, talented player. A bit surprised by that. And Lamb obviously has been tremendous for him this year. But I think if he goes anywhere other than Lee, it'll be a top team here or back to the NRL. So I don't think that's happening. But yeah, maybe a Wardle. He could do a job somewhere along the line, depending on his where his demands. Again, a bit surprised Lee haven't snapped him up yet.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's a possibility, definitely.
Okay. Seth Ellens, Lewis Baxter, Mackenzie Buckley, Matty Foster, Daniel Hill, Willa Boate, Louis McCarthy-Scalesbrook, Dan Norman, James Pembleton, James Roby's retiring, Sam Royal, Juma Sambo, and Jake Wingfield.
Well, Royal, I've only seen him a couple of times, but he looks really good, kid. again, he played on Sky a few weeks back, and he was absolutely awesome. Saints had players missing, and he was tremendous. Dan Norman, well, we know about Dan.
Yeah,
on loan a couple of years ago, and he's a good player. And again, a massive unit. And Young, he could be the new, Dupree, if you like. I'd love to see him here. I know he's been at Lee on loan, and he was at Swinton as well this year. So perhaps if his future's not at Saints, then yeah. Wingfield, I'm not seeing enough of him. I've seen bits, and he's always seemed okay, but I'm not 100%. I can't say I've seen enough of him. But Royal, I think, he's got real potential.
Wakefield, David Fajita, Renouf, Antone, Eddie Batty, Josh Bolden, Harry Bowles, Lee Kershaw, Lewis Murphy, Kevin Proctor, Dane Widrow. I like Eddie Batty. Me, I think he's a good forward. Me, but there's names there. But like I say, Wakefield are fighting for their lives, aren't they? So, would they want to give us a player away? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get one off him now, but maybe at the end of the year. Kershaw's okay. He's a decent lad. I mean, Harry Bowes, he'd be great for the kids, wouldn't he?
Wow.
That was awful. Made myself laugh then. A bit yeah, there's nobody really at Wakefield I see as taking us on, you know what I mean, to another level. I think Wakefield are bottom of the league for a reason. I don't think their players are quite good enough, and I'm not sure it's the kind of thing we want bringing into our club at the moment, unfortunately.
Warrington, Darryl Clark, Ellis Longstaff, Peter Matautia and Greg Minikin. I think Clark's gone to Saints, hasn't he? But Ellis Longstaff's gone to Featherstone. Peter Matautia, has he gone somewhere? I'm sure I've seen a video of him.
I don't know. I mean, good player, Matautia, solid. That's not bad. Who was the other one? Sorry, who was the last one?
Greg Minikin.
Wow. It's not really worked for him at Warrington since he moved, has he? But I think he's a decent player. I don't know. I don't know if he's the player we need.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, he's not a bad player. I'm surprised at that. Very surprised.
And last one, Wigan. Cade Cust, Mike Cooper, Willie Isar, Patrick Mango, Raymond Silva, Ian Thornley.
No.
No.
Believe
that.
I don't think so. Mago makes meters, but he's 10 minutes here and there. He's a bit of a Palliacina, if you like, that. And again, in this modern game, I don't think it's quite there for him. So I think that proves the problem we've got, and the problem that Paul Rowley and Bleasy are going to have. That even looking at the players out of contract, that you might think, well, the clubs know they're out of contract, coming to an end, we can let them shift. There's not that much there. And that's a big worry for us, I think. But there are a couple, like say, Dan Norman, I'd love to see sort of come in, and that Royal from Saints. I think them two would be two good young lads to put to the pack, and they've still got years in front of them. So, and people will disagree. We all see different things in players, don't we? But I'd have a crack at them too.
Yeah, Patrick may go, or might not go. We'll see. We'll find out. Not as good as yours, but we're trying.
That's okay. So
we'll be waiting with bated breath up to the 3rd of August to see if anyone comes in to bolster the squad. Obviously, the Championship, there's, like you said, there's players in their opportunity club. They'll want to see if they can test themselves at full-time level. So there could be opportunity there, but like you said, these Championship teams are pushing to get into Super League, aren't they? So, to compete. So, are they willing to get rid of the best, lose the best players for a fee?
Yeah, that's the problem we've got now. It is that point in the season where basically what you have, you hold, don't you? If you can, it is going to be difficult. I don't know enough about the Championship. I haven't seen it this year at all. I think I've seen part of the game with Swinton and Toulouse, and I thought, Toulouse might be interesting to look at, but Swinton beat them that day, and I think Toulouse were awful. So I've not seen anything good, but I know Paul Rowley was there that day, strangely enough. So I've no idea, but there are good players knocking about. And if you're in the Championship, you're obviously going to want that chance at full-time rugby. You want to make that step, unless your current job is what you want to do for the rest of your life, and rugby's something you just do for extra. But yeah, I think that's probably more likely where we'll end up going to find players. Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is, and I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in Bleazy's shoes right now, trying to scratch around finding players. So is it a case of, like we said earlier, do we hold what we have, hope to get a couple of players back and use that money at the end of the year?
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see what happens. Other news, Parker, read on in the MEN website, the council are trying to buy the stadium. At the moment, I think it's a 50-50 share between the Peel and the council. They want to do it to secure the future of the club and the stadium after paying something like, what was it, 25 million quid to build it or something like that. So when all the Salford taxpayer money that went into it, it makes sense for the council to own it.
Yeah, I got the feeling when I read this. I've read all this before. I'm sure it's old news.
Yeah.
I thought we'd already been through this and that there's a big outcry by the council, but they've agreed to do it anyway and we're going forward with it. I thought that was all agreed. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a shame we can't buy it ourselves. That would be that'd be the cherry. I'm going to put a euro on tomorrow, so you never know. I might buy it by the weekend. So I'll give all the fans that are coming back from France something to cheer about. No, look, obviously we need to know where we're going to play. We need to be secure. We need to find revenue streams from that stadium. That's got to work for us as well as the city. As a Salford Council taxpayer, I've got to be thinking, and others will do, that they have spent that money on that stadium. What is it doing? Is it losing money? If it's losing money, why is it losing money? When other council services are neglected or can't afford to, got the amount of potholes in our street, you can play golf easily and it's brilliant. The bunkers, get filled because the money's not there. So people are asked questions. However, it is the right thing to do. It is it's not just, people just see it as Salford Stadium. It isn't. It's for the community to use, and the amount of stuff, I go on about it all the time. I know we all do about what the foundation do at the club. They don't really have a base. They have a base at Eccles College. They should be based at that stadium. They should be given a space there. That should be the focal point of everything we do. If we ever get a museum, it should be there. If we get a shop, it should be there. They shouldn't. And this is all things that we hopefully can start to negotiate further with the council, because the council and Paul Dennett, the mayor, he's been great to us, really. I think from what I believe, he wants the best for us as well. So he'll be open to negotiate. It's not his decision. It's council members and the people we elect. So let's not forget that, just in case it all does go wrong. Remember who your councillors are. But I think it can only be a great thing for us. Peel Holdings have no interest in us, have no interest in that stadium. They have interest in land, lots of land, and I'm making money. So they've got no interest in any of that. So hopefully the stadium can be taken over by the council, and then maybe the council can go out and look out for a sponsor to put money back into the stadium, and then we reap the rewards. Or the council do, and then they can reinvest in structure around the stadium, in transport links. We've said God knows how many times, it's one bus in, one bus out. Yeah. Currently the club are running, or somebody's running it from the Trafford Centre. Maybe we can expand on that with extra revenue from the stadium. It's definitely something that's got to happen for us, and I think once it's done and dusted and out of the way, we can move on, and we know we've got a secure base for the future. IMG, again, will look at it and go, yeah, okay. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going. They're not Wakefield trying to build one stand at a time, and it might take 40 years. They're not Castleford, who've been promising a new stadium for 40 years and gone nowhere. Anyone who's trying to get into the Super League, look at what we've got to offer to what they've got. Hopefully it'll get settled very, very soon, and we can start making a bit of money out of it.
Yeah. When Parky starts talking about Salford Council, you see the big white eyes come out, don't you? How is that bin collection going? If they come this week or not?
Yes, got empty. Both my bins got emptied today.
Oh, that's good.
It's happened with everything's gone smoothly in about 3 months, and I hate doing it. I feel like the proper old man in the street having a go, telling kids they can't play outside my house or whatever. But it just annoys me. I only ask simple things out of the council. I don't ask for much, and my council tax is high enough that I can have my bins emptied. Yeah. So, look, I don't want to have a dig at the council. I'm not. They've been great to Salford Rugby League Club for a long time, and the development of Salford as a city is, I drove through it again today, coming back from Manchester, from Manchester Royal. And you come back through Salford, you see the change, and you think, this didn't look like this 5 years ago. Never mind 10, 15, 20 years ago. You get down the quays, you see that. So I'm not having a dig at the council, believe me. no matter what your political views are, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just put you on alert that if we don't get something good out of this stadium, just remember next time you vote. That's all.
Yeah. Just make sure if you're right, and if you listen to this Salford Council, make sure Parky's bin is emptied. Keeps him sweet. That's basically the up and down of it.
That's it.
So, other news, Parky, our 4 replica kits are still available to purchase. All very good. All available. Good price. Revenue stream for the club. Win-win for everyone.
Yeah, again, we suffer because we don't have a shop, don't we? I mean, it'd be fantastic because I think we shift a lot more at the ground on a match day. I mean, especially the last few weeks, the Wigan Leeds league game, the amount of faces that have turned up I've not seen for years, or new people, and then you get there and you go, I can't buy anything. You know, that's a struggle, and I'm not having to dig at the club. We know where the situation is, and we, using third parties, people to sell your gear and so on through the website. It's not ideal. People don't want to pay £6 for a delivery fee on top of what you've already bought. So that's an issue. But yeah, the shirts have been brilliant this year. Really good. I mean, somebody pointed out, I think we've only worn the white one once all year. Because we wore the centenary shirt, which is, let's be honest, an absolute classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that staying as an away shirt forever now, but that's up to the club. The home shirt is brilliant. And like I said, the away shirt, superb. And Magic Weekend's been and gone. It's a bit difficult, but if that's your flavour, then fine. But yeah, get out there and buy them if you haven't already got them. I've got 50% of them this year. I don't think that's a bad effort.
Yeah, VX3 pulling out blinders, shirt after shirt after shirt.
Yeah.
So let's hope that continues into next season. Other news: Salford Devils Foundation summer camp takes place in August, Tuesdays and Thursdays, £10 a day. 8th of August, I think it's the 15th of August, 22nd of August. Parker, obviously, opportunity if you have kids to send them out and let them have fun. Obviously, 6 weeks is a long time in it with the summer holidays, so to get your kids active and have activities for them to go to is always key.
Yeah, well, I know the one they did recently with my nephew went to, and he kind of stopped playing rugby a little bit for 12 months. And he'd been concentrating on his football a bit, and he went and he loved it. And they had a final game last week down at Folly Lane. Brilliant. It was great games to watch. It was superb. Some real talent coming through, by the way. A bit of young local kids. They weren't all local, they're from other places that have come down and go, but we get hold of a few of them for the future. It's going to be very exciting. But he loved it, and straight away now he wants to go back and play rugby league again. So it's giving him that, and you don't know, these kids out there have never played rugby league who want to get to play it and get to enjoy it. We'll carry on with that, and we need that in the game anyway. But yeah, another great thing. I mean, the foundation and what they do, the development team is brilliant. And let's be honest, they've got 6 weeks. The kids, you're going to get bored of them, and they're going to get bored of you. Get them out there, go and get running about in the field, go and play some rugby, go and see, hopefully the club get some of the first teamers down to have a look, and just show the faces, that sort of thing. But I think what the club do away from what we see week to week is brilliant, and really needs shouting about a bit more. So that'll be good. Yeah. Is there an age range on that?
I didn't write it down, Parky, but I can find out for you and let you know next week. That's not a problem. Talking about the foundation, the 150-year anniversary film was last week at Benutton College. You went. How was it?
Brilliant. Emotional. A little bit emotional, I'll say that. Watching some of the old clips of the Willows and old players and listening to what people had to say about it on the video was, and the fans, the passion of the fans, certain faces that we all recognised, giving their opinions. It was brilliant. It was a couple of times where I got a little bit, there was a lump in my throat, I'll say that. Some great memories. And then afterwards, we had Andy Gregory, Martin Burkitt, Paul Sullen and Shane Hanson answering a few questions. And again, they were great. They asked them about the time at the club and things like that. And, they were only too happy to join in. Again, that's like I said, that's come through the foundation doing that. John Blackburn, Neil Blackburn, this team. It was brilliant. It really was on a horrible night. Didn't stop raining all night last Saturday. But we, people came out, we had a chat and a laugh, and then But we sat through it, and there was a few giggles. But when you watch it back, honestly, the emotion was something else. And I think John Blackburn is actually looking at maybe reproducing it so you can probably buy a copy or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we're just getting in touch with John about that. I mean, don't bombard the man; he's got enough to do. But maybe send him an email or whatever, and drop the club a line and just see. Because I'd certainly take a copy of that. It was as good as, if not better than, the Willows Memories. It was excellent. So just a shame about the night, really. I think it held a few people off. There was still a fairly decent turnout, but I think it deserved a lot more.
Yeah. So just keep your eyes on the opportunity of getting a copy via DVD. I'm sure the foundation or the club will let us know when that happens. Talking about the summer camps, just going back, found out Park, it's for ages 8 to 12.
Right.
So if your kids between the age of 8 and 12, opportunity to go on to the summer camps. If you want to do that, contact sam.bardsley@salfordcc.ac.uk. And he will sort out for you. Sad news has reached us, Parky, that a former player, Dean, Raystrick, passed away recently. Our thoughts with his friends and family at this time, but a former player passes on.
Yeah, championship winner, and came in from Keighley in 74, 75. Won a championship, playing the Premiership final against Saints at Station Road. In a great team. You had to be a decent player to be in that team. I think that speaks volumes about the man. Didn't stay forever. I'm led to believe it was more of a transportation issue at the time. He lived over in Yorkshire, coming over training, that sort of thing. A bit of a mare, and he left us. I think he went on to Bradford or somewhere like that. But very sad. And when you think about it, I mean, he's playing for us in the mid to late 70s. So some people it might seem forever ago, but it really isn't. So he obviously wasn't an old man or anything like that. And we've just got to remember, these guys might not be around forever. So let's, we should hero worship him a little bit more than we actually do, I think. And I know next the Saints game's a chance for us to do that. There's going to be some big names and big faces there that I hate thinking this way, but we may never see some of them again. You don't know the gaps in between these lads being able to come to the club. So what I will say is, when this does happen, get to the ground early. And when they have their lap of honour, please, show them your love and everything, because some of these guys have given everything for our club and made it what it is, and some of the guys from the 70s and 60s, it's, we are all getting older. So let's give them the right sort of reception that they deserve, I think. But
Yeah.
Dean, such a shame. I'm sure he'd have been invited down this week. And I know, just to let everybody know, that Paul King mentioned the other night that every ex-player is allowed to have 2 tickets to any game they want. So, if you know an ex-player who you think feels left out or doesn't feel remembered by the club or something like that, please let them know, and tell them, just get in touch with the club and they'll sort them out. Come down and have a day out on the club. Yeah,
that's, like I say, that should be just basics, shouldn't it? Really, like I say, they've put a service in for the club, haven't they? For how many years they played, put the bodies on the line. It's great that the club look after them, even when they've left into retirement, and provide tickets for them and stuff like that to show how much how much they're worth to the club. Because I think we talk about our history, don't we, and how rich it is, and players are part of that, aren't they? The characters, the stories that they have, and the stories that we've seen them play out. So it's great. Obviously, I think it's fantastic what the club are doing regarding that.
Yeah, I think next week against Saints, the 150th. I think the plan is to have at least 150 ex-players.
Okay.
Doing a lap of honour or whatever. That's a lot of players. Let's not beat around the bush. So that'd be great to see, wouldn't it? Some of the old faces and characters. You'll laugh. I don't know if I'm allowed to sort of say a couple of the names that have been mentioned, so I probably shouldn't. I might have to leave that for the club to do.
Yeah.
But big names in the world of Salford Rugby League Club who may have travelled a fair distance to be with us that day. So I'll leave the club to do that. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but it's really exciting, and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah. Super exciting. Another exciting thing, Parker, is one of our greats, Gus Risman, is part of a statue in Cardiff Bay. Him, Billy Boston, Clive Sullivan, all three of them stood in next to each other in a statue, celebrating, is it Welsh Rugby League? I think obviously all legends of the game, and it's great that obviously he's been recognised.
Look, I mean, something I bang on about a lot. We just mentioned about players not being remembered. I mean, Gus Risman is potentially the greatest player we've ever had, and I say that, you know, with the David Watkins of this world and the James Lomasses and people like that. But Gus Risman, I think he's he's above rugby league. Not only what he did with us, what he did with Wakefield. You know, he played for Great Britain. He was an absolute superstar of his day in that way. And he's got a statue there in South Wales now, in Cardiff. He's got one at Wembley. I mean, how much more does this man need, you know, to be remembered? The only thing is, he's remembered in Salford by a very small street. I don't think it's enough. I think we need to do something about that. I think the stadium needs to do something about that and remember, you know, the likes of him. You know, you see at Old Trafford there with the trinity that they've got with, you know, Law Best and Charlton. We could easily do the same thing, and not financially, but with grants and so on, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I think Gus needs to be remembered as a real superstar of rugby league, like he is. He's in the Hall of Fame of rugby league. Like I say, he's outside Wembley Stadium. He's now in Cardiff, which isn't rugby league hotbed, and being remembered by them. So I think everybody needs to get behind it, and hopefully one day we can see that come to fruition.
I think stadium wise, because obviously we share our tenancy with Sale. If we were going to have a statue of Gus Risman looking mighty on the forecourt of the Salford City Stadium, they'd probably have to have another figure stood next to him, and probably Jason Robinson, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a massive Sale fan. I wouldn't know who their greats are, but I'm sure they'll probably find someone to create a statue of.
Possibly Bill Bowman, when he a Sale player. I don't know. But at the same point, yeah, but they can do their own. They can have their own, the opposite corner of the stadium or on the approach or wherever they want. But I think we need to remember. I don't think rugby league's very good at doing that at times, or sometimes it's too good at remembering the old days and not really progressing. But yeah, I'd like to see something like that outside the stadium. You know, a low mass Risman, Watkins statue. You know, I mean, come on, what more do we need? We have got a great history. Financially, that's the problem, obviously. But no, great to see Gus remembered again, and by the Welsh public and Welsh Rugby League, which, as I've said probably 7 million times on this podcast, we probably wouldn't be who we are without Welsh rugby players. You know, the 1934 Les Diables Rouges team was it 7 or 8 of that team were all Welsh.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's massive, and we've always benefited since. The 70s was the same. You know, Watkins, Richards, Dixon, people like that. So, yeah, it's good to have him remembered, and well done to the Welsh Rugby League for that.
Yeah. Final bit of news: a person who has been recognised and been given the job as Vice Rugby League President for 2024 is one of our local rugby league broadcasters, Trevor Hunt. Does a great job on BBC Radio Manchester. Really nice bloke as well. You know, he's approachable. He'll talk to you. He'll give you tips. You know, he is probably one of my favourites really when it comes to people to bounce ideas off. So for him to be the vice president of the RFL from 2024 is a fantastic thing for him and the game and the local rugby league community.
Yeah, very knowledgeable as well. He knows his stuff. He's a big rugby league man, isn't he? He's died in the wool kind of rugby league, and yeah, like you say, the times I've spoken to him, I found him just nothing but pleasant. He's got plenty of time for him and Jack. To be fair, the pair of them, and together they're a quality double act. Let's not, you know, and they defend the faith. They're really good for Salford. You know, even neither of them are Salford lads, Oldham and Lee, isn't it? But they you know, they back Salford, they speak highly of the club, and yeah, no, that's fantastic news for him. I really am glad, and you know, I think he's got to watch his backs. I think Mr. Paul Whiteside's after his job at the moment. So yeah, I think he better watch his back because he's got other things to keep his eye on now. But no, brilliant, great news for him, and absolutely delighted for Trev.
Paul Whiteside and Louise Fellon and double act. That's the next 10 years sorted. So yeah, congratulations, Trevor, on that, and we'll have you on in the next couple of weeks or months to tell us all about it. So that's this pop-up podcast. We'll look back at the Catalan game in a couple of days' time and look at all the big news that's come out of the club since this podcast come out. Another great show, Parker. Big thanks for all the donations via the Ko-fi. Without it, it's just two lads and a laptop tonight. So your donations helps us provide, purchase programs to help us edit the podcast and continue to provide the quality podcast that you enjoy today.
Yeah, again, can't thank him enough. Like you say, I think you mentioned on the other podcast, we nearly lost 100,000 last week. So
tell you what,
thanks for listening. I know you won't all agree with what I say or what Rob says or what Paul says at times, and you might be shouting at your earphones or whatever. But at the same point, we've all got opinions, but it's just nice that we can share ours, and we've got this platform to speak to everyone, and then hopefully we every now and then we let you know something you didn't know. That's always nice, whether it's out of the club or something else. But no, I mean, I can't thank people enough for listening. It's brilliant. The amount of times you see people come up to you at the ground and say, "I listen to the podcast." It's really, I mean, it shocks me. I know it shocks Paul, and it probably shocks yourself, Rob, that people take the time out to even say that. Yeah. They could be secret listeners and not say anything. It knocks my socks off, and I feel very, very proud to be associated with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, like you say, the way it's grown over the last sort of 7 years, and the interaction with our listeners, and the club and the players, engaging with us and allowing us to chat to them, and it's just a really good thing. And being a part of people's lives, like you say, going to work or going to bed, listening to us in bed, or just walking around the house or whatever, just listening to us. It's like you say, it blows my mind really. But I can't thank you enough for tuning in every week and listening to us three talk all things Salford Devils. So that's the end of this week's podcast. Big thanks for tuning in. I'm Brad Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you soon.